There's nothing worse than traveling with somebody who really takes that whole like, oh, it's embarrassing to be an American in Europe thing.
There's currently an online discourse of Americans traveling to Europe, or honestly around the entire world, facing some variation of backlash of the simple fact that they are American. And now, while I know where the sentiment comes from, I also strongly believe that being aware of global politics and how you carry yourself play a huge role in whether or not people accept you or reject you coming from the United States as an American. I stumbled across this video on the internet that is actively blowing up, and it's basically like a why are Americans ashamed to claim that they're American when they're specifically in Europe. And she basically highlights a few interesting points, and then the video completely veers off on a diabolical level, and I'm like, what the heck? Before we get started, I wanted to hear from you guys. Do you think Americans should be embarrassed traveling abroad, or do you think that we should simply be aware of what's going on and be willing to take on some difficult conversations when traveling abroad so our situations aren't going to be as bad? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. We're aggressively chasing 1 million subscribers, so help us out by hitting that like button and subscribing if you haven't already.
There's nothing worse than traveling with somebody who really takes that whole like, oh, it's embarrassing to be an American in Europe thing. Like, I once went on a Euro trip with a friend of mine after high school, and she was so embarrassed to be American that she literally like would not speak English to me loudly in public. Like, if I wanted to ask her a question, we literally had to wait until we were on a street that didn't have that many people around. And then I had to be like, so do we turn right up here? Or both of us are half German, so we both had relatives over there, but she speaks German and I didn't. So anytime we went anywhere, she would start speaking German before I could speak English. Even if we were in France or something, like, she would not let me speak English. She would have to go and speak German so that she could feign that we were from Germany, visiting from there at least instead of America. We were in London for a little bit, and I'd be like, oh, let's go to Buckingham Palace. And she'd be like, it's Buckingham. Like, I didn't grow up within the damn palace gates. Why would I say it like that? And it's like, we're pulling up in Brandy Melville halter tops and Madewell dresses. Like, we're not fooling anybody, chica. But it's a bigger issue, because why is there this whole Americans need to be embarrassed thing? Europeans are obsessed with us. We're like the oldest child that got out of the house, started our own country, got wildly successful, are like rich as hell, make all the entertainment for the entire world. And everyone is looking at our politics on the world stage constantly. But yeah, I'm embarrassing because I speak English. You know what language everyone speaks there? English. Why? Because of America.
You see what I'm saying? At first, I feel like she made some interesting points, but again, I know why her friend behaved the way she did. I've traveled outside of the United States myself. You guys have seen the clips of me traveling to Germany and stuff like that, and I wasn't embarrassed to be an American. I knew exactly what was going on at the time that I traveled, and I know exactly what's happening now, and I understand that people globally aren't going to feel great about that at all. So if I do travel and people do want to engage in a conversation related to that, I'm totally open. I just know that I don't support what's happening. I don't want the world to be gator rolled into chaos. I don't think anybody wants that. I mean, there are a certain group of people that definitely want that, but being so unaware that you don't understand why people are facing a little bit of backlash when traveling, it's kind of like, Now, I understand what she was saying about like disowning that you're American seems very performative. And I also agree with that, because that's a little insane. I never once said like, oh, I'm from the UK actually, or I'm actually from Germany. Well, you have to wear where you're from on your chest. I mean, you don't have to go beating on it and like barking every 3 seconds, but you know, if you're from a country and you're traveling, then that's where you're from. Okay, that's fine. Again, I do think that what ultimately influences how people treat you, aside from the, you know, diabolical things your administration may or may not have done, is how you carry yourself and whether or not you support the shenanigans. And how respectful you are and how you treat others. That's super important. Okay, so if you agree with me there, let me know in the comments down below. Now, you saw the pivot that she took though, right?
Europeans are obsessed with us.
As she was talking, I'm like, Europe is not obsessed with us, okay? There are tons of countries in Europe and they are not obsessed with the United States. In fact, I'm not sure if she turned on the news recently, but it's quite the opposite. It seems like the United States has been a huge bully. We've talked about it in so many videos. At this point, you guys are probably like, damn, we're torching relationships like we're trying to make a bureaucratic bonfire, and it's not looking good for us. All of our closest allies at this point have distanced themselves from the United States, and they're learning how to operate completely independent of the United States. And it's interesting because obviously in a world that we all share together, it would be better if we all worked together, but it doesn't seem like that is the MO of the United States. And, you know, we're facing some repercussions because of that. I'm not embarrassed at all. Now, part of me does feel a little embarrassed being an American traveling abroad when our administration does crazy shit.
Europe and Asia have benefited from our protection for decades, but the time for free riding is over. America and the free world deserve allies who are capable, who are loyal, and who understand that being an ally is not a one-way street.
Because, of course, it does make all of us Americans look bad. And then it's up to us to vocalize that we aren't the people that chose this to happen. Our administration is just acting the way they're acting. And, you know, we're all weathering the storm together. So I do get that. I know earlier I was like, I'm not ashamed, but sometimes I can be a bit embarrassed. But I will still claim that I am an American because at the end of the day, that's a fact. I am an American. We are not obsessed with the US, LOL.
Europeans are obsessed with us.
There is no way on this planet. If you've seen what has been happening recently, no one's obsessed with us.
And everyone is looking at our politics on the world stage.
Oh, yeah, but people are definitely paying attention to us because, like I said, we cannot stop torching relationships. It's like an Olympic sport for the United States at this point. Literally, I remember a group of friends and I were talking recently, and we're just worried about what's going to happen next. It's like not even funny at this point. At a certain point, it felt like ironically comical because it felt like we were in a satire. Those satirical headlines you would see like 10, 20 years ago that, okay, that would never happen. That's ridiculous. Are happening. They're actively happening. Okay. And it's to a point where either I'm in a really messed up dream or things are as bad as we see they are on a daily basis, and they continue to get worse. It's almost like watching a train crash. You can't look away. This is an interesting take. We travel extensively and are currently in Switzerland. Whenever we mention we are from a southern state, we were always met with friendliness and tales of how wonderful their holidays to the southern states of the US was. Now, fortunately for how the world views the United States and stuff, right? I think the way the world views the United States on a grand scale is in two primary ways. And you guys can correct me in the comments down below if I am wrong. But from what I've gotten, right, through my travels as well, is they see the United States as two different sectors, our government and the people. So our government is facing incredible backlash from the entire globe. And then we have the people. Now, the people, it's hit or miss, right? It depends on the type of American that you get when they travel abroad. There are a lot of open-minded Americans that travel abroad. They're eager to learn and adapt and indulge and feed their brains. And those are amazing people that you want to have travel to your country. And then there are the Americans that are like, everything was better back home. I don't know how these people can stand living here and da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like they're very like abrasive and they're hard to get along with and they fail to adapt and they make everybody's lives miserable. Obviously, nobody wants people like that traveling to their country. It is a nightmare. So I completely understand the two different groups, primary groups of how the world associates, you know, Americans and stuff, right? When you look at the United States in particular, you have the government and you have the people. You guys let me know what you think about that. I've asked this question in several previous videos and I've gotten some very, very intricate answers. But how has your view of the United States changed? And also, how do you view the United States, people coming from the United States, us Americans and stuff, right? Do you view us in the subsets that I described, or is it different? At the beginning of this story, I thought your friend was being unfair, but then you carried on talking. Yeah, at first I was like, dang, her friend is being a little performative. And then she pivoted and I'm like, oh. I think what was really going on is your friend did not want to be associated as being American because of how the lady describing the story was behaving, because it doesn't seem like she has all of them brain cells present. Okay, ain't no way any of my friends would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna associate myself with this individual. What, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, incredibly tone deaf. The individual that made this video is the problem. When I was in Prague, an American with her friends asked me the best way to reach London by foot. I told her it was impossible and way too far, and they insisted I was wrong, that London was quite close and that I was probably getting confused with Vienna. that is much further away. I can't say that I'm surprised. There have been a ton of people that have had wild encounters with us Americans, even myself, where we've said some pretty diabolical things. I'm not gonna lie, and it's out there on the internet to see. So you might find a few of my L's out there. You've caught a few of them in some of my videos just from me making these videos. You need to be willing to learn, have an open mind, and correct behavior that is toxic and just straight up ignorant. And I think that's what a lot of Americans have a problem with. But it's not exclusively just an American problem. We're just very vocal about it. We are loud and front stage and center when it comes to things like that. So I do think that the best thing that Americans, what we can do is be a little bit more open-minded, do a little bit more research, and learn about the places we're going to travel to and how to conduct ourselves so we have less hostile encounters. There was the lady I keep bringing up in a lot of these videos that went to Ireland, but she was a Trump supporter, you know what I'm saying, and did not understand why people were giving her crazy reactions, and you know, her interactions with people just were not good, because there was a conversation about politics that got brought up, and she was very hesitant to talk about the situation in the United States, and not because she didn't like politics. It's mainly because she voted for Trump and did not want to talk about the effects of that. You know what I mean? Yeah, honestly, I've had nothing but insanely lovely interactions with everyone on my Air France flight, and since I've been to Paris. This is my 5th time here, and I've never had anything less than a wonderful exchange with everyone I meet. And they know I'm American. I have zero reason to be ashamed of where I'm from and the place and culture I was raised in. At the end of the day, I do think this boils down to, again, how you conduct yourself when you travel, and are you aware of what's happening globally? And boom, like, your experience will be amazing. If you're able to adapt and not cause problems for other people, then you're gonna have a wonderful time wherever you go, because it doesn't matter where. If you could be in your own country, if you're causing problems for people in your own country, what do you think is gonna happen when you travel? People are not gonna want to be associated with that. So I do think that this is a simple case of you have to be very aware of what you're doing and the energy you're propagating to other people. You can reduce the amount of negative experiences you have, basically, like I've been saying. So if anything I've said so far is something that you think is a point of contention, let me know in the comments down below. If you agree with me, let me know as well. Did you just say everyone speaks English because of America?
Yeah, I'm embarrassing because I speak English. You know what language everyone speaks there? English. Why? Because of America.
Yep, she sure did. Being an American tourist is fine, but this video is embarrassing. Yes, it is. At first, I'm like, okay, maybe the person making this video has a point. Her friends are kind of doing too much. But as she kept talking, I'm like, oh, I see what's going on. I think the reason why her friend was trying so hard to pretend like she was from a different country is probably because if the person posting this video was saying all that craziness at the end of her video in this video, imagine what she was saying hanging out with her friend. And her friend was probably so embarrassed. She's like, yo, sprechen Sie Deutsch? You know what I'm saying? It's not embarrassing. We literally don't care if you're American. Like any other tourist, just be polite, respectful, and you will be fine. And that's how I saw this whole situation. As long as you're polite, you're respectful, you're not boisterous, and all those other things, you should be fine. I mean, people won't give a fuck. People have day-to-day things they got to take care of. The world is not locked in on Americans, right? They're not. They don't give a fuck. They care when you cause problems. And if you cause problems, yeah. Don't expect to have a good time at all. I say I'm from California. I moved to Belgium, and most people here still love the US. They just aren't going until there's a better administration, and they are boosting their armies. Yeah, that's kind of another sentiment that I saw. There's a ton of people I know personally that live in various countries throughout Europe that want to travel to the United States, but obviously not now and not for a long time because of what the current administration is doing. So, and that's very understandable. It's honest. I'm telling you, it's so sad as an American watching all this happen. It's like, dang, like, you know, we used to be proud of people coming into the country to go see all these different places and things, and now there's less of a desire to do that because people just straight up don't feel safe. Like, that's literally what it boils down to, especially with what the current administration has been doing. If it looks like I'm weird, my eyes are puffy, my nose is running, I have allergies. It is insane. Is it allergy season where you guys are? Or do you guys have allergies? How do you take care of that? Because, oh my gosh, I've been fighting my demons making these videos.